we will read in the gospel text of today Zacchaeus' encounter with Jesus. And by the end of this text, we realize that Zacchaeus has been transformed. He has become a new person altogether, even because of this brief encounter with Jesus. However, we can also see in these verses a method which we can take for our own prayer and for our own imitation and for our own encounter with Jesus. And the first is the desire to see Jesus. Jesus enters Jericho only on his way to Jerusalem. Jesus is not interested in stopping in Jericho. Jesus is not interested in spending the night in Jericho. Jesus is moving towards Jerusalem. However, in Jericho, there is a man named Zacchaeus who desires to see Jesus. That's all Zacchaeus wants to do. He wants to see who Jesus is. However, the desire of Zacchaeus is not a superficial desire. It is not a desire only on the surface level. It is a genuine desire, as we will see in what happens later. And Jesus is in the midst of a crowd, and Zacchaeus is unable to see Jesus because of the crowd and because he is short in stature. So the two obstacles which I term as an internal obstacle, Zacchaeus' short stature, and an external obstacle, the crowd, both come together, because of which Zacchaeus is unable to see Jesus. If Zacchaeus was short, but there was no crowd, he could see Jesus. If Zacchaeus was tall, even if there was a crowd, he could see Jesus. However, the internal and the external, the inside and the outside, both these obstacles or hurdles come together, because of which Zacchaeus is unable to see Jesus. The desire of Zacchaeus is a genuine one, and Zacchaeus will persevere. Zacchaeus will not give up. If the desire of Zacchaeus was only superficial, he would have said to himself, I am short. There is a crowd, and it seems like the crowd is going to follow Jesus, so I will see if I can see him another day. He would have procrastinated. However, because Zacchaeus' desire is genuine and because he is going to see the Lord, he does two things. And in those two things, he overcomes both the obstacles. That is, he runs so that he can reach the place before Jesus comes there. He runs ahead, knowing that Jesus is going to come by that way. And even as he runs, he doesn't run and stand there. He uses also his mind. That is, he climbs a sycamore tree. In that action of running and climbing a tree, Zacchaeus has overcome both obstacles. Zacchaeus first has been at the place before Jesus as if to welcome him. Zacchaeus has become tall because he has climbed the tree, and now the crowd will not be an obstacle, will not be an hindrance, because Zacchaeus can see Jesus. He has raised himself. And even as Zacchaeus is there ahead of Jesus, he does something which is very, very crucial in any encounter with Jesus, That is, he waits. Waiting is an art. Waiting is a science. Today, we are living in an instant world where we want everything at the drop of a hat. We are living in a world where we are moving from one thing to the next and the next and the next without any thought about what we are really doing. As the blind poet Milton says so beautifully in his poem on blindness, they also serve who only stand and wait. They also serve who only stand and wait. And so Zacchaeus waits. He knows that the Lord will come. It is not Zacchaeus who decides when the Lord will come. The Lord will decide when he will come, but Zacchaeus knows that the Lord will come, and that is why he waits, and waits actively. And as soon as the Lord comes, he recognizes and realizes who is on the tree. The Lord knows all that there is to know, and the moment the Lord sees him, the Lord invites himself to Zacchaeus' house. Come down, Zacchaeus. I must stay in your home today. Today. Because for Zacchaeus, there was only today. There was no tomorrow. There was no procrastination. And so the Lord has seen this genuine desire. The Lord has recognized this genuine desire and invites himself to the house of Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus, come down. I must stay in your house today. And Zacchaeus listens before speaking. He's not anxious to tell the Lord something. He's not anxious to invite the Lord. He's not anxious to share with the Lord. He is anxious to hear what the Lord is saying to him. And even as Zacchaeus hears the Lord, he hears the Lord both with the ears of his head, but also and more importantly with the ears of his heart. If Zacchaeus had only heard the Lord with the ears of his head, he would have come down and said, Lord, you are welcome to my house. He would even have said, Lord, I'm going to prepare a feast for you. He would even have gone further and said, Lord, not only you, but your disciples and the whole town is invited for a feast. That would have been very generous on the part of Zacchaeus, but it would still have been a listening only with the ears of his head. However, because Zacchaeus hears the invitation of the Lord, even with the ears of his heart, he comes down. And he stands erect. Because he was a short man, he has to stand possibly on his toes so he can look taller and be taller and feel taller. And he says to the Lord, Lord, if I have defrauded anyone, I will pay them back 4 times. And half my goods I will give to the poor. It is very likely that as a chief tax collector, Zacchaeus would have defrauded a number of people. And so therefore, if we make a calculation that he is going to give half his goods to the poor and of the other half going to repay people 4 times if he has defrauded them, we ask ourselves, then how much would remain with Zacchaeus? And the answer is, everything would remain. Everything would remain because Zacchaeus has given up everything to acquire, to get, to recognize, to meet the Lord. And because Zacchaeus has the Lord, he has everything. And so the first step in this encounter with the Lord is whether I ask myself about my own desire. Is my desire to meet and encounter and see the Lord a genuine desire, or is it a superficial desire? If it is superficial, I will give up, I will procrastinate, I will not persevere. But if it is genuine, like Zacchaeus, no matter what my impediments are, no matter what my obstacles are, I will overcome them. I will overcome them by using my mind and my heart, by using every fiber of my being. And then I will wait. I really do not know when the Lord will come, because the Lord comes in His own time. But this much I know, that because my desire is genuine, because my desire is real and not superficial, the Lord will come. And when the Lord comes, I might be anxious to speak and tell the Lord about the challenges I face, about the joys in my life, about the sorrows and the crosses and so on. And the Lord will speak first if I let Him. Zacchaeus let the Lord speak first, and the Lord spoke. And the Lord will invite Himself to your home. And because you will listen to the Lord, not only with the ears of your head, but also with the ears of your heart, because you will see the Lord not only with the eyes of your head, but also with the eyes of your heart, the response that you give to the Lord will surprise even you. If Zacchaeus was told before he met the Lord that he would make restitution fourfold and give half of his goods to the poor, he would never have believed it himself. It is only after his meeting with the Lord, after his encounter with the Lord, and what it meant to him, that he was transformed. I too, if I allow myself, can be transformed by the Lord. I can become like Zacchaeus, a new person. Am I willing to let the Lord transform me today?